Mysterious statues set into the wall of a church are among the few surviving fragments of the legendary Celtic founding of London. The three figures, renditions of the mythical Celtic king Lud and his two sons, once stood above Ludgate, the western entrance to the old walled city. When that gate was demolished in the 18th century, they were moved to St Dunstan-in-the-West Church on Fleet Street nearby. Their presence there now feels almost accidental, yet they remain a small reminder of how mythology and stonework were once bound together. As mentioned, King Lud himself belongs to legend rather than history. He appears in Geoffrey of Monmouth's Historia Regum Britanniae, written in the 12th century, which traced the line of British kings back to the descendants of the Trojan hero Brutus, himself a survivor of the fall of the ancient city to the Greeks. From one fortified settlement to another, according to Geoffrey, Lud was a capable and prosperous ruler who fortified and embellished his chief city, calling it Caer Lud, or Lud's Fortress. Over time, the name was said to have evolved into London. The story continues that Lud was buried by the city gate that took his name, and that the gate marked the site of his tomb. There is, perhaps unsurprisingly, no evidence for the tale, but it was widely repeated in medieval and early modern chronicles, and helped give London a vivid origin story. The gate associated with Lud stood close to where St Paul's Cathedral now stands. It was one of the main approaches into the city and was rebuilt several times. The last version, completed in the 16th century, carried the statues of Lud and his sons above the arch, a piece of civic decoration that joined the legend to the city's daily life. When Ludgate was finally pulled down in 1760 to make way for street improvements, the statues were spared and eventually set into the facade of St Dunstan-in-the-West, where they remain to this day. The church itself has a long history. A place of worship has stood on the site since at least the 12th century, serving the craftsmen, lawyers and printers who worked along Fleet Street. It escaped the Great Fire of 1666, but was later judged unsafe and rebuilt in the 1830s in a Gothic style by the architect John Shaw Jr. Dedicated to St Dunstan, the 10th century Archbishop of Canterbury and patron of metalworkers, the church has long connections with the city's guilds and trades. Returning to Geoffrey of Monmouth, the chronicler claimed that London was once known as Troynovant, the new Troy, founded by Brutus, a descendant of the Trojan hero Aeneas. In his Historia Regum Britanniae, Geoffrey traced the origins of Britain's rulers to survivors of the fall of Troy, who, after long wanderings, settled on the island and established a line of kings. King Lud, according to this account, and in the anonymously written 9th century work Historia Britonum, was one of Brutus's distant descendants. He ruled generations later from the city Brutus had founded, fortifying and embellishing it before his death. The statues recall a period when Londoners were eager to trace their city's beginnings to a heroic past, and when legend was treated as fact. Their survival, set in the walls of St Dunstan's, is a providence and a powerful reminder that London's history is built as much on imagination and myth as it is on stone. But that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. And you can also support the channel on Subscribestar via the link in the description, or via YouTube Super Thanks. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.